Chapter 1: Building the American Dream. The years following World War II were a time of unprecedented prosperity and optimism in America. The war-ravaged economies of Europe and Asia created a huge demand for American goods. Now, this fueled an industrial boom in the United States. Factories churned out cars, applications, other type of consumer goods, right? Jobs at this time, you could say they were plentiful. There's a lot to go around. The GI Bill provided returning soldiers with opportunities for education and home ownership. There are millions of veterans who went to college and bought homes, further stimulating the economy. These were great times. President John F. Kennedy's ambitious social programs, including investments in infrastructure and education, reinforced the idea that America was a land of opportunity. Now, during this period, this saw the birth of what we call the American dream. The belief that anyone, regardless of their background, religious beliefs, identity, etc., could achieve success through hard work and determination. At this time, you could say a good job, a house in the suburbs, a car, and, a good future for your children. This would be considered hallmarks of the American dream in the post-war era. It was a time when the middle class thrived and the future seemed so bright. America was to be looked up to, right? Chapter 2, the 1970s and the rise of uncertainty. The 1970s marked a turning point for the American dream. The decade began with oil crisis that sent shockwaves through the global economy. At this time, you could say the cost of everything soared, leading to inflation and economic recession. At this time, the OPEC oil embargo of 1973, triggered by the U.S. support for Israel and the Yom Kippur War, exacerbated the problem. Now, as if the oil crisis wasn't enough, the U.S. economy faced another major challenge, and that was globalization. See, during this time, American companies started outsourcing manufacturing jobs to countries with lower labor costs like Japan, and then later countries like Indonesia and China. This led to job losses in traditional manufacturing hubs like Detroit, Pittsburgh. If you're from the Midwest, you know what I'm saying. Eroding the economic base of the American class. The economy began to see turmoil in the 1970s, right? America needs jobs. This was the foundation of what shook the American dream. What was once seen as a guaranteed good job, a stable income, comfortable retirement began to feel uncertain. Divorce rates began to rise. People became to be more unhappy. The idea of hard work would inevitably lead to success no longer seemed like a given. There was a sense of anxiety that began to creep into the American psyche, and it began to spread rapidly. Chapter 3: Economic Realities of the 21st Century. As we entered the 21st century, the challenges of the American dream only intensified. For those who don't know, that means it got worse. Now, the forces of globalization and automation continue to reshape the economy, often at the expense of middle-class jobs. The manufacturing sector, once the backbone of the American economy, began to shrink. You have cities in the Midwest and other regions that begin to see a decreasing population and poor economy surrounding it. Jobs were increasingly concentrated in the service sector, which offered lower wages and fewer benefits. The rise of gig economy fueled by companies like Uber and Lyft further eroded traditional employment models. It had its goods, but it also had its bads. Now, while these platforms provided flexible work opportunities, they often come with low pay, unpredictable hours, and a lack of benefits like health insurance and paid time off. The result of this economic shift has been a widening gap between the rich and the poor and everything in between. The top 1% of earners have seen their income soar, while the incomes of the middle class have stagnated or even declined. This growing inequality has made the American dream increasingly out of reach for many. Part 2 coming soon.